Am I loud and audible?
Yes, yes, yes. You are audible.
Okay. So I welcome each and every one of you for today's online. Thank you very much for joining in, taking out all your precious time, and deciding to congregate together in the Association of Devotees and listening to Bhagavad Gita. So that's very commendable, and I am extremely grateful to all of you. And thank you for joining in today. So I'll request devotees to please turn on their cameras so that we can have some interaction with each other. So kindly turn on your videos. So I will start with Manglacharan. So join me in the prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यं मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरून् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च Savadhutam, I'm sorry, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् I'm sorry I fumbled while chanting the Vandeham, and I think I missed a line also. Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Utapadakam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam. Sorry, yeah. All right. So thank you very much once again for joining in. Thank you for turning off on your videos. I hope you have the copies of Bhagavad Gita. We will be discussing verse 2.30. So I just want to ask you any reflections from previous classes. Would you like to share anything that you remember from previous classes? We've been listening to many important verses from chapter 2. So anybody would like to share very briefly, like just one line, what you remember from the previous sessions? Very briefly, we'll probably take 3 responses. Would anyone like to share what they remember from previous verses so that we know we are all on the same road? So devotees can raise their hands if they want to talk. Okay, nobody would like to share. Narmada, would you like to share anything from the previous class?
Actually, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Actually, I didn't attend last class because of Gita made easy course. I was joining that time, so I didn't attend Mataji.
Anything you remember from the previous classes, not exactly the last class.
Oh,
Last to last.
okay.
Anything what you remember, what are we discussing about?
We are discussing about the soul and the characteristics and natures of the soul
Okay, can you
and
tell me
how.
any one characteristic of the soul?
Yeah, is Mataji, because the soul is never distractible. It can't be burned. It can be wet, and it is neither born nor it is going to die. And it is always in the past. Also, it will be in the present and it will be in the future. Like the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna, it is also eternal. The soul, which is the part and parcel of Krishna, it is also eternal.
Okay, very good, Narmada. Anybody, one more response we'll take. Would anyone else like to share any reflections from the previous classes? If you don't volunteer, then I'll pick you up. Shivadarini, would you like to share something? Okay, it would be nice if we could make it an interactive class rather than, me just talking. And I don't know in what state you all are listening. So it would be nice if you would all turn on your cameras and participate. So in that way, there will be a more proper transfer of, knowledge, and you will be more active and present in the class. So we have been discussing, and Krishna has been laying the foundation in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is very explicitly explaining about the soul. So we've been discussing many verses describing that what is the soul, who is the soul, what are the characteristics of the soul, and in the previous classes we've been seeing that how the soul is eternal, right? The soul is eternal, it is indestructible, it cannot be killed, it cannot be withered, it cannot be dried, it is minute in size, it cannot be measured, it is amazing. It is something that pervades the entire body, its consciousness. And the body is something that perishes. The body is temporary and the soul is eternal. So, through different verses, Krishna is trying to explain to us and establish to us the soul, the qualities, characteristics, and the entire existence of the soul, and the difference between the body and the soul. So today we'll be seeing verse number 2.30. I will recite the verse and then I will invite one more devotee to recite the verse behind me. So you all can raise your hands. Dehi nityam avadhoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam sochitum arhasi. So anyone would like to repeat the verse once again in Sanskrit?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, please, Haribala.
देहि नित्यम् अवध्योयाम् देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Thank you. Can you read the translation also?
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Thank you. Anybody has their purports opened in front? Anybody has their Bhagavad Gita open in front of them can read the purport?
Shall I do,
Yes.
Mataji?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, so purport. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher, Bhishma and Drona, will die in the battle. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of the in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously.
Okay, thank you, Narmata. So let us
Hare Krishna,
decode
Master.
verse 2.30. Let us see what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying, Dehi nityam avadho yam, Dehe sarvasya bharata. Right? So Dehi means the person that occupies the body. The thing that occupies the body is called Dehi. So what occupies the body is the soul. Okay, so Dehi refers to the soul. Now again Krishna is describing what is the soul? The soul is Nityam. Okay, Nityam means eternal. Okay, Avadhyo. Avadhyo means something cannot be killed. So in Hindi, vad karna, vad means to kill, right? And avadhyo means something that cannot be killed. Okay, so Krishna is again describing the quality. He's saying nityam avadho. So the soul that occupies the body is eternal and cannot be killed. And then he says dehe sarvasya bharata. Now dehe means the body. Okay, so dehe means the body and dehi means the thing that occupies the body. Okay, so now he's saying dehe sarvasya bharata. Okay, sarvasya bharata means that he is everywhere. So it is not necessary. Dehe sarvasya means in all the bodies. Okay, so it is not necessary that the soul is there only in the body of human beings, right? The soul is there in all the bodies. So whatever bodies that we see, we also covered this point in previous classes, that everyone has a soul. The insignificant, smallest insect that we cannot even see, which is like a dot of the pen point, even that has a soul, right? That has a soul and that has a super soul, right? So Dehe Sarvasya Bharata. So now, after knowing this, what is the conclusion? So, Natvam Sochitum Arhasi. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. So anybody does anybody see any connection of this verse to previous verses? Or does anybody think of something or, like koi connection ya kuch yaad aaya or sounds familiar? Like anything, like can you relate this sentence to any other thing that we've been studying?
Yes, Mataji.
Ye-
That Dehi nosmin yata dehe, that verse.
Okay. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram.
Yauvanam jara. Like, it's like a torn
Neeraj
clothes, just
tatra
as
na
we
mahayati. Yes. What do you remember?
like just as we change the clothes when it is worn out. Similarly, body the soul changes the body. Uh,
Right.
so that's that.
Thank you, Haribala. Thank you. So one thing that is common over here is this line, Natvam sochitum arhasi. So now if you pay close attention and if you try to remember, this is probably the 8th or 9th time that Krishna is repeating this instruction. Till now, it's at least the 8th or 9th times that this sentence is coming. You need not grieve for any living being. Right? Let's see. Okay, so this we discussed. We discussed that Dehi means the one who embodies, the one who occupies the body. Nityam is eternal. Avadho is something that cannot be slain. Dehe sarvasya, and therefore no sochitam arhasi. So now let me take you to memory lane and let me take you to the previous shlokas that we have studied here in IYS Online Sangha. Okay, 2.11. Krishna starts Krishna starts speaking to Arjuna. Pragnavadam Shubhasase. Gata Suna Gata Sumsha Pragnavadam Shubhasase. Na tum sochitam arhati. Arjuna, you're talking like a wise person, but actually you're a biggest fool, right? Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Then again in the 13th shloka, Krishna says, a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. What Haribala said, Dehino Yasmin Yatha Dehe, 2.13. Then again 2.14. Matra Spashasta Kaunteya. Krishna says one must learn to tolerate heat and cold, happiness and distress without being disturbed. Again in 2.15, Krishna says, person who are not disturbed by happiness and distress and are steady in both are certainly eligible for liberation. Again in 2.25, Krishna says, the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable, and knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Again in 2.26, Krishna says, even if you think that the soul will die, and even if you think that the soul is not eternal, you still have no reason to lament. In 2.27, again Krishna says, in the unavoidable discharge of duty, you should not lament. Jatasya hi dhruvor mitro, dhruvor mrityu janmasya. So someone that is born has to die, and someone who dies has to take birth again. So in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. And then again in verse number 28, Krishna says, whether the soul is in an unmanifest stage or manifest stage, and then again manifest stage, what is there the need for lamentation? So we see how many? 8 here, and then again the 9th verse. So Krishna is talking about the same thing again and again and again. Right. So what do we understand, that why is Krishna stressing on this topic so much? Why Krishna is saying ek baar bol diya, do baar bol diya, teen baar bol diya, 8, 9 baar, 9 times he's saying the same thing. Na tum socho tumhar hasi, na tum socho tumhar hasi. One should not lament, do not lament, do not lament, do not lament. Why Krishna is saying like that again and again and again? Anybody would like to say? You can also send your responses on the chat window if you're feeling shy to open your cameras. Very shy audience. Nobody is willing to open their cameras. So you can put your responses in the chat window. Why do you think Krishna is stressing so much in this particular this thing, it's a battlefield. Yeah, come on. People are waiting to fight with each other. We saw how many Akshani Senas are ready to fight. 100 Akshani Senas, 5 Akshani Senas are ready to fight. In the middle of the battlefield, Krishna is repeating this one sentence again and again and again. Yeah, bas karo, aage jao. Like, go on, move ahead. How many times will you say the same things? That is, we tell our seniors, sometimes, that how many times you'll tell the same thing, right? So anybody would like to share why Krishna is stressing on this point so much?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, Arjuna was very attached to the like the bodies of his teacher Dronacharya and Grand Bhishma, and he was hesitant to fight the war, and thus to give him this knowledge of the soul that I think.
Yes, go on.
That is why Krishna is stressing so much that you should not lament, because they will continue to live. You're just elevating them, killing their body,
Right.
elevating them.
Right. Yes, very good point there. Krishna is trying to stress to Arjuna because Arjuna was so attached to the bodies of his teachers, basically Dronacharya and Bhishma, right? And Komal is saying because lamentation hurts and there is actually nothing to lament because nothing is permanent, right? Thank you there for your responses. So now I would like to give you an activity. I would like you to note down in your notebooks if you have. Recently, what has that one thing happened that you were very sad about and you were grieving about? So, like you were sitting and lamenting. So basically, what does lament mean? Lament means to grieve something. It's an expression of grief. Ki, Arey yaar, like, I wanted to go for that movie, but the tickets were sold off, like I'm so upset, my mood is off. I don't want to eat, or because a friend has not spoken to me properly and she's ignoring me. So anything, what has been the reason for your latest when you have felt upset? And you can write it down, you can reflect. I'll give you few minutes, like not few minutes, like I'll give you a minute. Write down an incident that you have last lamented about, like why you were upset about, really upset about, and you could not concentrate on your work, you could not concentrate on your service, and that thought was just consuming you. So write down that activity that happened to you just recently, like the last thing. Or if there's something that you really remember, something that really shook you, you can write that down also. So write that down, and if you feel, you can share it on the chat window. So I give you a few seconds there. If anybody feels free, they can share it with the chat window. So remember, we are over here trying to, learn about higher topics, the soul and the spiritual growth. So we will not be judging each other based on our responses. So feel free to share your these things, but again, no force from my side. So have you all written down one incident that we were lamenting about? Okay, so we have a devotee. My friend said she cannot be my friend because I joined Krishna consciousness. Okay, so you were very upset about it, yes? Of course. Okay. Okay, so now if you have written down this instance, then the next thing I want you to think a little deeper and think that where was this lamentation rooting from? Like, what was the root cause of this lamentation? Like, for example, right. Okay. Right. So what is this anger coming out from? What is this? Where is this lamentation actually sprouting from? What is that underlying emotion that actually, is making me feel upset? You can write it down. Like why I was feeling like that. It could be like, okay, because I wanted some recognition, I wanted some respect, or I wanted to be heard, or I wanted to enjoy anything, whatever was that emotion due to which I was lamenting so much. So you can write that down. So Haribala is saying attachment. So it could be attachment for the people involved in that incident, or it could be attachment to my relationship with that person, or it could be yeah, I am feeling disheartened because I completed 2 rounds of interviews with a company, but I haven't received any response from them. Correct. Right. So feeling disturbed. So what is the emotion that is sprouting? From where these emotions are sprouting, there would be an underlying cause, because sometimes we are actually not upset of what is going on externally, but there is a deep rooted emotion behind that, expectations of things going a certain way. Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Now I want you to write down that you saw somebody else's problem and you thought that, oh my God, I'm definitely in a better position. And someone else is having a bigger problem than me. And because of seeing that person's problem, you felt your problem was very small. So write that down. Like I'll share you something like I think I was very upset about I was having some pain a few days ago, and I was having some kind of a mild pain in my lower back, and I was very upset about that, and I was feeling very disturbed because that pain was not going. And then we all heard about that Air India crash. And then when I heard about that Air India crash, I was thinking that, oh my God, like, like I am in a much better place. Like I actually don't need to be so upset. It's a small back pain and it will just go away. People just lost their lives like in an instant, you know. So I felt better over there. So when we see other people's problems, we feel okay, my problems are, smaller. Like I'm much at a better place. Okay. Okay, now I want to ask you one more question. That have you ever heard of any of your spiritual teachers lamenting? And why were they lamenting about? Okay. Anybody would like to share? Anybody would like to share that point? Okay. My spiritual leaders, mentors are always happy no matter what happens in their life. Okay. Thank you, Narmada. Thank you, devotees, for participating. I hope this activity opened up some insights. So now Krishna is telling Arjuna that they are on the battlefield, and Arjuna is basically very attached to his, like he gets very emotional and sentimental seeing his family members there, and especially Dronacharya and Bhishma, right? So here Krishna is explaining that how the body is different from the soul and what is the characteristics of the soul, and they are standing on the battlefield. That means that they don't have small problems, that they are not lamenting. Krishna is not talking about lamentation about, isne mujhe ye bola, this person didn't give me any, this thing, respect, and I didn't get selected for the interview, or, this person shouted at me and I'm feeling good. We are not talking about these small things, Here we are talking about a battlefield. We are talking about a battle where millions of people are involved. Okay, and it's a battlefield where family is involved. Family is involved, close relationships are involved, teachers are involved, seniors are involved. And here Krishna is giving this statement that the soul is eternal, the body is temporary, and on the loss of the body, one should not lament. So Krishna uses the word na tum sochitum arhasi. So arhasi means deserve. Okay. So Krishna is saying that this kind of activities do not deserve your energy. They do not deserve your, you don't deserve to, you know, cry over these things. Now we saw in our activity that our problems are little problems, and then when we see other people's problems, we see, oh my god, the other person is suffering so much. Yeah, but the ultimate problem, the ultimate tragedy that could happen to anybody is death, right? That is the last thing that can happen, right? There's nothing more tragic or more you know something that can give the maximum grief is death. you know Death of a loved one, death of a friend, death of a parent, death of a relative, right? There can be nothing, no other more problem bigger than death, right? Now Krishna is saying death is the ultimate tragedy, but it is insignificant. So something as huge as death is not worthy of grief. So imagine the petty little things that we lament about 100 times in a day. How insignificant is that? When Krishna is dismissing death as insignificant. And Krishna is saying it again and again and again and again, that this does not deserve your time and energy. Right? So why Krishna is saying this? Krishna is laying down the foundation of Bhagavad Gita over here. Okay, this is the first chapter where Krishna is talking, and Krishna is repeating this lesson again and again so that we try to understand how important it is. So in the previous shloka 2.29, Krishna says that some describe the soul as amazing, some see it as amazing, some hear about it as amazing, but there is one category of people that who know everything about the soul but still do not understand. We are falling in that category, and that is why Krishna is using Arjuna as a medium to explain to us that how trivial and how insignificant this thing is. So anything that is based on the bodily conception of life is insignificant, right? And it does not deserve our time and energy, right? So unless this foundational principle is strong, we will not be able to appreciate the following lessons that Krishna is going to give about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is going to ascribe next 16 chapters are pending, But if this concept is not clear in our minds, Krishna says there are some people who know everything, but still do not still understand, right? So we need to understand that how insignificant our little problems are when Ashri Krishna is dismissing death, right? So few life lessons that we can learn from these shlokas is lamentation for the body and the bodily concepts is condemned by Krishna, right? So every time, anytime, next time you're upset, you should remember this natvam sochitum arhasi. You should make like write natvam sochitum arhasi and stick it on your in your room, and or on your desk or wherever you're working, and next time you're upset, you look at that and you see that natvam sochitum arhasi. Krishna is reminding you, does this deserve my time and attention? Life is very short. There is a lot to do in life. We have a long way go. So I am upset. Does this deserve my time? Does this deserve my energy? No, this doesn't. Let me move on. So problems will become smaller, those little problems that consume our mind, sometimes problems consume our mind, like they eat up the whole space in my mind. I cannot think of anything else. I cannot concentrate. I cannot, I stop talking to people. I stop eating. I cannot work. That problem consumes my mind, right? So I'll give you an example, like when we sit in an airplane, when we sit in an airplane, we see around us big, 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 big buildings, right? Okay, but when the airplane moves up, if you have traveled in an airplane, when slowly the airplane takes off and you move up, you see everything becomes tiny, tiny, tiny. Like big, 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 big buildings are like small, 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 small dots, you know. The whole city is like dot, 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 right? So something similar, So when we rise up in knowledge, then we will see that all our issues are so small and so petty. They will appear very silly, like, oh, okay, okay. So next time, think of this. Natvam sochitum arhasi. And Krishna says, Kutaswam kashmalamidam. Kutaswam. From where this has come? Krishna is saying, Yar, you are my friend. You belong to such a civilized, educated, you are a Kshatriya, you're educated, you're a king, you're a prince, and you are the mightiest warrior on earth. From where has this quality come in you? Kutastvam, kashmalamidam, like miserly, like this is silly, this is miserly, this does not befit you. This is not befitting. So similarly, Krishna is saying that this kind of lamentation is completely unacceptable in spiritual life, right? So that is why this point is being stressed again and again, that Krishna is using Arjuna as the medium to tell us, right, that this lamentation comes from the faith in the temporary, right? So faith in temporary things, okay? So if one wants to progress in spiritual life, then this kind of lamentation is unacceptable, right? And this is laying down the foundation for understanding the following topics. And we should also remember that when one message is repeated again and again and again, then it should be taken as a warning. It should be taken as a very, very, very important things are repeated again and again and again, right? So now, but I want to know that, I mean, see, we will all be faced with those situations. We will all be faced with those situations where we have to face this in life. We have to face death, all of us. We have to face death for us, okay, but for people around us, like our relatives, our parents, our dear friends. We have to face that reality, right? So, when, I mean, we should try to understand that um, just looking at our loved ones just on the bodily platform, so just having a relationship that thrives on bodily platform is not enough, right? We should understand that there's a beautiful soul that lies, and the relationship is actually with that soul. The relation should be on the level of the soul. Okay, it's like how if you have a jewel in a box, and you cannot actually see the jewel, but a very faint light is coming out from that jewel box, so that is the kind of relationship that we have, and that is why when there is a loss of the body, and the relationship is not based on uh, the soul, and that is why we feel so much of grief and lamentation, right? So Krishna says that Krishna says that spirituality, like if somebody, spiritual realization, a civilized person, right? So this thought does not befit a spiritually realized person, right? And we've heard that what separates a animal from a human being. We learned that beautiful verse, dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashavi samana. So all the activities of animals and human beings are the same: ahar, nidra, bhaya, maitunam, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But one thing that distinguishes between a man and an animal is dharmo, right? And this is the foundational principle of dharma, like spiritual realization, that I am not this body, I am the soul, right? So now what do we do? What do we do about this lamentation, right? We'll take a very interesting twist from here. What is the time? How much time do we have? We have 20 more minutes. Okay. So let us take a very interesting twist. Prabhupada has made life very easy for us, So Prabhupada says that whatever you have, whatever you do, whatever you know, all your talents, everything, all your resources, all your education, everything, whatever exists, if it is dovetailed in the service of Krishna, then it becomes spiritual, it becomes beautiful. So you're eating food, that is a material activity, but if you're eating food offered to Krishna, it becomes a spiritual activity, it becomes bhakti. So if you're singing, it's a material activity, it gives you karma. But if you sing for Krishna, then that is bhakti. If you're dancing, if it is mundane, but if you dance for Krishna, it becomes bhakti. So similarly, all our senses and all our activities, if they are engaged in the service of Krishna, then it becomes bhakti, right? So interestingly, lamentation also, when used for Krishna, becomes glorified. So lamentation is there. We cannot get rid of lamentation. Lamentation is going to be there. It's our nature. So what do we do is we will change the track, right? And interestingly, our sampradaya is based on lamentation, right? Love in separation, right? So what is this lamentation? This lamentation is lamentation based on the platform of the soul, right? This lamentation is feeling separation, of feeling sadness, of feeling grief based on your relationship with Krishna and his devotees, right? So our whole sampradaya, the movement is based on lamentation. So Lord Chaitanya's mood of worship is love and separation. Lord Chaitanya is always lamenting. So I had asked you a question in the activity that have you seen your spiritual teachers lament? Right? So now we will see that how our spiritual teachers, all our spiritual teachers are lamenting, but the object of lamentation is different. Here, the object of lamentation is Krishna and his devotees. So acharyas have written songs. Lord Chaitanya has written verses We see Shad Goswami Ashtakam, they have written verses, they have written poems. Narottama Das Thakur has written poems on lamentation. It is glorified. So anything material, when used in connection with Krishna, becomes glorified. So similarly, lamentation is condemned by Krishna, right? Rejected. But that same lamentation, when used for Krishna, is glorified, right? So these prayers of lamentation are a very important part of our devotional practice, and they actually become a catalyst for awakening deep love of God. So actually, we don't have love of God. We are not there at that stage. When we sing the prayers of these acharyas, and that can add a catalyst. It can act as a, you know, it can act as a catalyst to increase our loving devotional service to the Lord, right? So this lamentation is based on our relationship with Krishna, and we lament that, when I will be able to, revive that relationship, when I will be able to, feel that love for Krishna, right? So it is not seen as a negative emotion here. In fact, it is a powerful tool for cultivating genuine love and devotion. So we will see that how Lord Chaitanya is lamenting. Lamentation is also a very beautiful rasa in pure devotional service, right? And Prabhupada said that we are following the footsteps of six Goswamis of Vrindavan, right? They are authorized people, direct followers of Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, right? They are always searching for Krishna. Okay, so Prabhupada says, so what does the prayers of the Shat Goswami says? It says, He Radhe Vraj Devi ke chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta, Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pad Patale, Kalindi Vane Kuta, Ghoshtantav iti sarvato Vrajapure, Khedir Mahavihvalu, Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo, Shri Jiva Gopalako. So we are offering our respectful obeisances to the six Goswamis. What are they doing? Who are searching for Krishna everywhere in Vrindavan. They are searching, oh Radharani, where are you? Oh Nanda Maharaj, where are you? Oh Govardhan, where are you? Kheder Maha Vihalau. They were lamenting in separation from Krishna. This is the process of worship given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So here the six Goswamis are searching, where is Krishna, where is Radharani, where is Lord Chaitanya, where is it? They are crying in lamentation. So if we need to cry, then we should cry for these things. We should cry that why I'm not able to complete my 16 rounds of japa, why am I not able to chant properly, why I am not able to have loving relationships with my devotees, why I am not able to do my services properly. So these are the areas of lamentation, right? So this is what we should constantly be meditating upon, right? That how I can become better in my service, how I can do my japa properly, what I can do to please Lord Krishna and revive that relationship. So, following the instructions of my immediate authorities, right? So here, lamentation becomes purification. Prabhupada says that when this lamentation is used for Krishna and his devotees, then it becomes purification. So when we lament, like for example, we, every year we celebrate the disappearance day. We celebrate the disappearance day of acharyas. We celebrate the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada, and then we sing Jaya Nilo Premadhana Corona Prachur, right? So this is a very beautiful. So why is this lamentation purified? Why is this lamentation purified? Because this lamentation is not based on the body. It is based on that soul, and that how by remembering that soul, nothing happens but awakening of the love of Krishna. So every time we remember Prabhupada on his disappearance day, we remember that what all are the things that he did, and what all are the things that we are able to benefit because of Prabhupada. And, we got the benediction of pure devotional service from Prabhupada. We got a track in life. Otherwise, our life was wasted if it was not for Prabhupada. Yadi Prabhupada na hoito kabe ki hoito. Jivane bahita kishe. Like, where I would have been rotting. I would have been rotting with one group of idiotic friends and wasting my time, either, uh, wasting my time somewhere in a coffee shop, or, if, okay, maybe I was a bit intellectual, then I would be wasting my time discussing philosophical, speculative knowledge, which would have no rasa, and no goal in life. But because of Prabhupada, because of our acharyas, so that is why we celebrate the disappearance days of our acharyas, and that is the time when we remember our spiritual masters, our acharyas, and we cry. So Narottama Das Thakur has written a very beautiful poem, J. Anilo Premadhana. I'm not sure if you've all heard it. So that is a very beautiful poem written in separation from devotees, and singing that infuses the love of God, and it only intensifies the relationship with that pure soul, and we are able to attract his blessings, we are able to attract his mercy, and it helps us and infuses the love of God. So Lord Chaitanya himself, in his own life example, he showed us that how lamentation can fuel the most profound emotional flavors in devotional service. Right? So I'll end my session with a very beautiful poem written by Narottama Das Thakur. Okay, and where he is lamenting. Okay, and what is he lamenting? He's lamenting, yeah, I am so unfortunate. I have got this human form of life, but what am I doing with it? I'm wasting this human form of life. But actually, this human form of life is meant to serve Radha and Krishna, right? So it's a very beautiful poem, song. It says, Manushya Janma Paya, Radha Krishna Na Bhajiya, Janiya Shuniya Vishay Khaina. So I have got a human form of life, but I'm not worshipping Radha Krishna. It is something like purposely eating poison. Janiya Suniya Vishakhain. Okay. Hari Hari Vifale Janma Goin. So he's lamenting, my dear Krishna, I'm so unfortunate. I got this human form of life. It is meant for developing Krishna consciousness, but I have wasted my time. It is knowingly I have taken poison, right? And Srimad Bhagavatam says the same thing. Labdva sudurlabam idam bahu sambhavante manushyam arthadam, right? It's a very, very precious gift of human form of life. And Lord Chaitanya also demonstrates in his Shikshashtakam. He says, Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha praveshyaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virhanime. So that is, of course, the highest level which we should aspire for, that nimesh, like Lord Chaitanya says, that one moment, the nimesh is called the moment it takes for us to blink our eyes. So that moment, that millisecond feels like 12 years. So that is what we have to aspire for, right? But how can we start? We can start. How do we start? We start by becoming aware of what we should be lamenting for and what we should not be lamenting for. So next time you're upset over something, remind yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this worth my time? And when you think that no, this is not going to serve your devotional life, this is not going to make you come closer to the Krishna, make you come closer to Krishna or his devotees, then you say, okay, move ahead, move on, get to the next thing, right? So that should be our focus. So when we start there, then we know, okay, I don't have to feed this lamentation, but I have to feed, I have to change my track. I have to, feed some other thoughts, So then my focus should be on my spiritual life and that aspect. And when we try feeding that, then we will become stronger, right? So I will end my session here. Anybody has any questions? Does anyone have any questions or comments or feedback, or anybody would like to share some takeaways, what they learned from today's session?
Mataji.
It's very wonderful.
Yes, Komal?
You know, the education was very wonderful, amazing. I learned many things. Like the learning is that we should make time, and when we are planting, should think about the problem or to about spending time.
Actually, Komal, your voice is breaking
Am
for
I
me.
audible?
I'm not able to understand. I don't know if it is for the others, but I'm not able to follow what you're saying. There's some, your voice is breaking.
So, now is it fine, Mataji?
Yes, much better, much better.
Yeah, I'm saying like today's session was very wonderful, amazing. I learned so many things. Like first of all, like soul level and what is the soul, what is the purpose, and the second thing is while lamentation, we have to think this lamentation is making me close to Krishna, or we are just thinking without any reason, or is it require my time, energy, or efforts? And we should lament for the association
Yes,
and our sadhana.
yes, yes. We
So,
should lament for the association of devotees, service of devotees, and uh, we should lament for our services and our sadhana.
yes, so this is I learned. But my question is one more. Like sometimes, although we are practicing Krishna consciousness, but sometimes in we became little emotional, and that emotional will catch up the mind, and it will try to like we will try hard to not engage in that thing, but emotional purpose, if we get emotional, that mind automatically goes and engage about those things, and we
Hmm.
start lamenting at the time. What we need to do, how we need to make ourselves okay, this is fine.
Yeah, you need to ask yourself this question that where is this sprouting from? Where is this lamentation sprouting from? And whether it will serve me, whether this kind of lamentation is good for me or it is taking me away from Krishna. It is taking me away from devotees, if it's taking me away from Krishna, then I need to think about it. So little small things, we can decide for ourselves. We can see if, does this thing deserve my time and energy? But if there are little bigger issues, then you can take guidance from your mentors, and your mentors are always there to guide you. And sometimes we have problems, and which we're not able to solve ourselves. Then we can take the help of our mentors, and they will guide us to come out of that kind of stuck up. Like we get stuck up sometimes. We're not able to move ahead.
Yes,
But a little bit of introspection, and we need to reflect that वो कहाँ से आ रहा है, like ये, why am I actually upset? And you should seek assistance from the right type of people. If you seek assistance from the wrong people, then वो लोग अपने हिसाब से बताएंगे. So we should know that where we have to approach. We should approach our spiritual mentors who will take us closer to Krishna. If you approach people who are anyways, they themselves are going further away from Krishna, then they will also take you on that path. So that
yes,
choice we have to make कि हम किससे assistance ले रहे हैं. Like where are we seeking guidance?
yes, Mataji, thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Narmada.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So I have this kind of thing from my childhood. Like if I face any hard situation, I react immediately. But after a few hours or few days, after coming to my real consciousness, then I can able to solve the problem myself. But actually, I'm able to solve the problem myself. But when the moment I'm facing the problem, the reaction I'm making is I can't control that certain reaction at that time. Like when the problem comes, that second, that time I can't face. But after few days or few moments, I can realize and process the problem. But so how should I avoid reacting on that moment?
Yeah, so actually that response, I've heard this saying that in any situation, do not react, respond, you know. So, but what happens is that in that provoking situation, what happens is we usually end up reacting. So, our response is actually based on anger, you know. So if something has provoked us, then usually our response is towards that. So most of the times we are actually reacting to anger and not reacting to actually the solution of the problem. You know, so we are not addressing the problem, or we are not addressing what is the solution to the problem, but most of the time we are actually reacting to the emotion. Like if somebody's comment has made us uncomfortable, then our reaction is based on that comment and how I am actually feeling. So rather than actually focusing on trying to take a solution to that problem. So we have to, come to that level where we are addressing the problem and not the people involved in that problem. So that should be the focus. The focus should be the problem and not the person, you know. And so we have to train our mind. Basically, it's all the game of the mind. So Prabhupada says that, the mind can either become my best friend or my worst enemy, you know. So it is my duty to train the mind. So, and training the mind takes time, right? Krishna says, Arjuna says that training the mind is like, uh, controlling the wind. Like I can control the wind. Come on now, wind is not easy to control, but Arjuna is saying I can control the wind, but not the mind. So Krishna says, abhyas, practice, right? That is what Krishna says. So we have to train the mind. So we have to, every situation, if we have that attitude that, I need to become better at this, and I need to, focus on the problem rather than on the other things that are associated with it. So slowly we will see that we will become better at it. And, so the first time you may react, you may get angry, but the 10th time the same thing happens, you will be like, like, I don't care, I don't have energy for all this. So you move on when you know what your focus is. When your focus is on the main point, then all what you want to do is to feed that focus. So anything that is taking you away from that focus, anything that's taking you away from, becoming a better devotee or becoming a better person, or anything that's taking you away from Krishna, we need to consciously avoid those activities. So like you're telling me that after a few days you feel, array, I shouldn't have reacted like that. So that is also progress.
Mataji.
That is also progress. So at least you're realizing, you're conscious of your actions, that you come back to that state where you feel that, okay, fine, why did I get so angry? Why did I lose my temper? So when you're faced with that situation the next time, your response will be more different. Your response will be more calmer. So Yeah, does that answer your question, Narmada?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. This really helped me a lot.
Krishna Mataji.
We'll take one more quick question or any feedback, or anyone would like to share any takeaways?
Mataji, I have one question. Can I ask?
Yes, Shivaranjani, please.
There was this. Okay, today someone beside me. Today my sadhana was not very proper, so someone beside me was playing a Bollywood song near me, and that I used to love this song years ago, and immediately after I distanced myself from that person, and that song came out of from my mouth. So I was so shocked that okay, okay, this has affected me now. And then I was trying to chant the holy names, and then I slowly okay, I forgot that song. So I just became so afraid when that unconsciously that came out from my mouth.
Yeah.
How do I handle with all of these? So,
Actually, we are carrying impressions from many, many births. So we don't know what impressions we are carrying. Like, we've taken millions of births before this particular birth, and we don't know what kind of activities we have indulged in, what we have done. And we are carrying all those impressions. So all those impressions are deeply rooted in our hearts, as anarthas, impressions from many, 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 many lifetimes. So this is a very small example. So this is just an impression of your life few years ago. Like, few years ago, you liked that song, but now you don't like that song. But in spite of that, your mind caught it. Your mind caught it, and your mind was playing that song. So similarly, many, many impressions we are carrying in our hearts, and these are called anarthas. So, I mean, they will surface some or the other time in some or the other form. But what is the solution to this is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The only solution to this is chanting. So the chanting will clear the consciousness, the mirror of the heart. So we just need to be patient. We need to have enthusiasm. We need to have patience. And we need to have determination and faith in chanting of the holy names. And then that will help us to clear the mirror of our consciousness of all the impressions that we are carrying from previous births. And so next time, even if something like that happens, you can just reject is okay, fine, your mind is playing, you just don't spend any attention on it, like dismiss that thought. So if it is an unpleasant thought, we don't feed it too much, you dismiss it, okay, move on. You get busy with other things and your mind will automatically forget. You said that slowly your mind forgets. So the mind is like a monkey. So the mind will jump to different things, but we need to bring it back. So the essence is to bring the mind back. So if you're come to that state where you understand, okay, fine, bring my mind back, that is also progress. That is also a good thing. So any unpleasant thoughts, don't feed them too much. Don't give them too much energy and attention. Hope that
yes,
answers the question.
yes, I'll be mindful, Mataji.
Yeah, being mindful.
Thank you, Mataji.
So thank you all very, very much. I would like to thank the organizers, IYS, for giving me an opportunity to come here and speak to you all. It was a very blissful session, and it's very nice to come and meet together and discuss these topics. So please forgive me. I again seek apologies. I fumbled when I was telling the pranam mantra. I would like to offer my obeisances again to the Guru Parampara. And I would like to chant that again. Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Ushakanvitamscha. So our only hope in spiritual life is our Guru Parampara and our Acharyas. So we should seek their blessings always in the beginning and in the end, and be grateful for this glorious parampara that we belong in. So thank you all very, very much. Over to you, Deepapriya.